Hi there, welcome to another lesson with Dr. Hill. Today we're talking about electricity again, and we're going to go back to the circuit that we built a little bit earlier in our previous lesson. I've modified this circuit a little bit, so let's just have a look at the breadboard and see what I've done just to make it a little bit easier. So if we look at the breadboard now, what we can see is that I have taken my positive power and put it into this rail here, the red rail on the board, and I'm going to put my negative power onto the negative end of the batteries onto this rail here, the blue rail, just to keep everything simple, because I'm trying to show you what's happening to the voltage in this circuit. So what's really important is that we're going to try and understand what voltage is, and the best way to try and understand voltage is to look at what's happening to it as it goes around a simple circuit. So let's look at the circuit, and the important thing about voltage is it's the amount of push that the electricity has, the electrons have, as they're going through the connecting wires and the components of the circuit. And as the voltage is pushed through various components, it's kind of used up. That power is used up, and we lose voltage as we go around the circuit, as we go through the different components of the circuit. Now, it takes a certain amount of voltage to light an LED, and we'll have a look at that in our next lesson. But what we're going to do first of all is we're going to see what's happening to the voltage. So what I have in this, let's have a look at the board again. What I have here is a little battery pack that has two 1.5 volt batteries in it. So this little battery pack will produce 3 volts for me. The positive charge is coming out of the red and the negative charge is coming out of the black. So let's connect it up and we'll see that we can light our LED. Let's get that stuck in there. Good. So what's happening is the positive line is coming down the red rail. It's connecting to our resistor. Remember, we should have a resistor between the LED and a power source. And the resistor is connected to this column here, which is connected to the long leg of the LED, the positive end of the LED, which connects to the negative terminal of the battery, and the whole thing is lit. Now, what happens to the voltage in this? This LED doesn't seem to be very bright, so let's see if we can have a look at the voltage. Now, I want to measure how much voltage is used up by this component, the resistor, and then I want to measure how much voltage is used up by this component, the LED. Now, what I do is I connect my my meter here to the ends of the resistor. So I'm going to put my red cable from the multimeter onto the resistor, and I'm going to put the other cable onto the other end of the resistor. So you see I'm connecting my voltmeter across the resistor, and that's taking 0.37 volts. So we'll write that into our circuit. 0.36 volts. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to see what the LED is using. We'll do the same thing. We'll connect up our, and if we read that, it says 2.64 volts. 2.64 volts. Okay. Now we can measure the entire circuit just by going from the resistor to the LED. So let's do that. And 3.01 volts. So our actual circuit, let me get rid of all this now. Turn that off. Save our battery. And 3.01 volts across the entire circuit. Now, let's have a quick look and see what happens if we add these two numbers together. So 2.64 plus 0.36. That gets me 0, carry 1. I know some people do these things differently these days. That gets me 0, carry 1. That gets me 0. And look at that. 3 volts. So in this lesson, what we've seen is that if we measure the voltage across the components of a circuit, they kind of add up to the total voltage that's being supplied by the batteries. Now, there's one thing I just want to point out to you here, is that this circuit, all the components in this circuit are connected along one row, or one loop of the circuit. And that means in science they're connected, in electricity, they're connected in series. Okay? Series. That's connected in series. The resistor is connected in series to the LED. And that's important. And we'll look at why that's important in another lesson. But what we wanted to look at in this lesson was just what was happening to the voltage in that circuit. So hopefully I've managed to do that in 10 minutes and you've got a fair idea of what that means, and I'll see you in the next lesson.